Cojones, cazzi. Cojones, cazzi. Cojones, cazzi.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? How are you? It is good to see you. It is good to be seen by you. I, of course, am the one and only Bill Sylvie, aka the Dungeon Delver, coming to you live from an undisclosed location somewhere in the thawed out swamps of Central Florida. And welcome. It is good to see you all. Jack Photon, right up front. You got here early. I hope traffic and parking was certainly acceptable. Robert Phillips, how are you? Driving in Dragons. Hey, don't dragon and drive unless you're dragon racing. Shellback Bow. Praxis Taliagoro. Good to see you. Damien X247. Welcome to the show, everybody. I hope you're all having an absolutely cromulent evening. And if you're not, well, then kick back and maybe you will. Maybe you will. Maybe I can bring some joy. Maybe we can manifest some joy in your life tonight. FMCS Recon, Jay Tyler, thank you very much for the happy B-Day. I appreciate that. But anyway, we've got a fun show ahead of us tonight. And let me just ask you a favor. Let me ask you all a favor. If you haven't done this already, this is the one time I do it at the beginning of every show. If you would, please, if you know what we're doing, if you know what's going on, you don't have to do this. And for goodness sake, don't undo it and then redo it thinking you're gaining me something, because it's not. But if you haven't already and you feel so inclined, would you please click the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications? Because then you can stay on top. You see, that's the international sign for on top. You can stay on top of all of the happenings and the weirdness and the fun that goes on around this wonderful, wonderful place that I call Uncle Bill's TV Funhouse. But only for a couple of minutes, and then I realized that sounded a little creepy, so I called it the Delver's Dungeon. So you will find out everything that's going on. 10:30 a.m. in sunny and warm Tokyo. That is awesome. How long are you going to be there? Let me ask you that. How long are you going to be there? But anyway, so we have got some fun tonight. We're going to talk about, and this is helpful if you're new, if you're just coming in, if you're just sitting in and you're like, I don't know if I want to click subscribe. What's all this show about? You're in luck, because Mondays we talk about the week ahead. And so we're going to talk about that. Elizabeth, you're here just in time. You're featured tonight, kiddo. But I'm going to get to that in a minute. We're going to talk about the week ahead, all the things we do. If it's the first one, you're very lucky. We're going to talk about all the things that we have got lined up this week. But let me if you want the condensed down, you look on the back, you're at the Blockbuster. It's 1989. You're looking for a movie to grab. You're looking on the back of the video box. There's a few lines written by, some studio intern. Passed through a dozen hands. This is that. This is what's on the back of the video box. Folks, I live stream old school tabletop content 5 nights a week. And sometimes more if I'm collaborating with some of the wonderful people here on YouTube that I am happy to call part of D&D YouTube. whether they do or not. But Bob Schultz, good to see you out there. Well, Shellback Bo, you would have been on mom or dad's arm while they were looking for a little something. Anyway, so 5 nights a week, folks, we live stream about classic tabletop RPGs. And what does that mean? We live stream about classic TTRPGs. Let me tell you. We do deep dives on classic TTRPG material. We play classic TTRPGs right here on the show in a very real way, the realist way, and no scripts. The dice decide what happens. You can ask anybody out there who's in the audience. If you're new, don't be shy to say, is he for real? Like they actually play, like they don't have scripts. Yes, that is 110% true. We actually play. We play AD&D. We play whatever Kyle wants to run at a given minute. He's going to be back in February, and we play Gamma World. We might be playing some Star Trek RPG, FASA Star Trek RPG, I should add. In the latter half of the year, if Jack Photon will come on down. So I'm all about it, and I love to have guests on the show. Creators, the first person I ever interviewed for social media was Gary Gygax. I hadn't quite got to be friends with him yet, but we were kind of warming up to each other, and you can find that right here on my YouTube channel. I've uploaded that. It was audio. It was a phone call. So I have talked from Gary on down, classic RPG creators, brand new RPG creators, miniature sculptors, artists, scholars, musicians, people that I think are cool are the folks I like to interview, stuff I like. Okay. And there's many more ahead of us. So tune in for all that fun and click that subscribe button. And if you like this video or any of my videos, give it a thumbs up. If you're going back and watching something from a couple of years ago and you're like, hey, I agree with you, or hey, I don't agree with you, or the commenter above me is a jerk, or the commenter below me is awesome, leave a comment on it. That's all I ask. So anyway, I'm glad you're all here. I'm so glad you're all here. Tonight is one of those times when, in addition to talking about what we're going to do in the week, tomorrow night, first edition AD&D. Wednesday night and Thursday night are open nights, and Friday night is Gamma World. There is the week ahead. Tomorrow I'm doing a video. I'm trying a new short form format, kind of going back to my roots a little bit. Now that I'm a little more confident with my editing game. This is not going to be a rant about something, newsworthy. It's going to be actual content. And I'll tell you guys why I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be doing more of that style of content because, I'm going to be doing that kind of content because I like doing it. Okay. And also, the informational stuff that I do is sometimes it's buried in a 2-hour live stream, and somebody would be like, when did you talk about psionics? It's on one of these 2-hour videos. Good luck, So I want to go back to short, not YouTube shorts. I think AD&D is too complex by and large for a YouTube Shorts format, but I could be wrong. Somebody could prove me wrong. So yeah, I've got a little video, and I think you guys are going to like it. It covers an important topic in AD&D, both in the meta and whatever the opposite of meta is in the game. So look for that tomorrow. Yes, it is Shellback Bow. Yes, it is. Just needs a couple of tweaks to make it good. So what we can get back to talking about D&D and AD&D after I show off my swag. I got cool stuff for my birthday and I want to show it off now. And I had no particular order I was going to do this in, but since Elizabeth popped into the chat, we're going to start with something that she sent me, and it is freaking awesome. Now, I am fortunate enough to play AD&D with Elizabeth on Monday nights with my closed group, although we are scattered across. Hey, I felt no warmth. Thank you very much for the late birthday. Hey, Orbital Air, good to see you. But anyhow, I got really cool stuff for my birthday, and I'm going to start off with something. Was totally not expecting this. This came out of left field, and folks, I have got a new camera look. This is my new camera that I purchased myself. It is an awesome, it does 4K. You guys are just seeing 1080p because YouTube doesn't let you stream in 4K unless you pay them lots and lots of money. Oh God, I'm ugly up close. Yikes. Anyway, so this is my new camera. I'm just kind of getting to grips with it. If I'm a little out of focus, I apologize. I think I could be a little less pink, maybe, if we kind of bump this up a little bit. That's a little better. That's a little better. Adjusted the white balance just a tish. So let's take a look at the first of the birthday gifts I wish to show you guys. And I'm putting Liz before the one my daughter and my wife got me because she's here and I don't know if she's going to stay here. So totally not expecting this. Came in this lovely box right here. That's right. It's a Walther PPK. I'm kidding. So this is special gift for you. Van Gogh since 2019. So right there, since 2019. This is so cool. This is so cool. I feel like I should have my wizard's hat on to show this off, but let me show this to you guys. And I want to be careful because I don't want to hold it upright and it dumps stuff out. I honestly don't, I didn't even consider that. So let me just pop that off. And there's a little piece of, there's this that says, thank you, which I think I'm supposed to use this as a thank you note. But I'm terrible at writing thank you notes. So all I can do is just contact people and gush about it. But without further ado, let me see if I can hold this up now. I'll be very careful. It looks like things are fairly well held in there. Guys, this is an ink and quill set. This is a fantasy / wizard themed pen and ink and quill set. Look at that. It's a feathered quill. That is a green feathered quill. Now I know why she asked me what my favorite color was. There's a little pot of ink there. There's a couple of different nibs. It's just, it's absolutely gorgeous. Look at the dragon themed. Oh, that's going to go skating. Look at the dragon themed well for the pen. This is just absolutely wonderful. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. But maybe at long last, I can get around to using this awesome blank parchment book that my co-host Kyle got me a long time ago. It is really neat. It is really, really neat. I hope I have the hand to do it justice. I really do. I really do. So I'm in love with this. This is a win. Thank you so much. Thank you so very, very much for this. Elizabeth, love you to pieces. Mean it. And again, showing this off first because I didn't know if Elizabeth would be able to stick around or not. So let me just put this back together. I've come not as a messenger of peace, but as a hammer to shatter this injustice. Paladin, after seeing the rogue pocket the gold. Absolutely. Absolutely. I can write spells now. That's right. Wave of mutilation. Hello. Good to see you. So, I will, I'm looking to refresh the look around here, maybe this spring, maybe this summer. Nothing's going away, just stuff will get moved around. And I will figure out if there's a way that I can both access this, because as I've told people, a lot of people look at the stuff here when they come. I'm looking at the wrong camera. When they come to the live streams for the first time or watch videos I do, oh wow, what a great set you have. And I know they mean they think that all the stuff is cool, the little mini video games back here, and the Agent of Shield poster, and the D&D books over there, and the all this stuff here, the Tracy Lesh art, and all this. I know they mean they think it's cool, but it's not a set. All this is stuff I use. I grab this on a daily basis, and I hate for it to be set pieces. I play these video games from time to time. About the only thing I don't pick up and generally use are like the little dolls, the little vinyl figures here. I got the little Rick Deckard from Blade Runner 2049. I've got All Might from My Hero Academia. And I don't pick them up and play with them and that sort of thing. But everything else, like if I want to look in the that's like my actual Dungeon Master's Guide up there. And I have actual dice around here that I'll grab and roll for various purposes. So, I feel like I owe it to people to tell them that this is not a set. This is my office. This is my man cave. So I enjoy this. Dave Mills, good to see you. So I'm gonna carefully put this over here. You can be sure I'm being careful with it because I'm laying it on top of a motherboard that is not in a box right now. But anyhow, so I want to make sure that I can display that, but that I can also get it and use it as I need it. I'm looking forward to it. Cyrus Wright, Man Dungeon. So anyway, on to the next. Now, if you're a fan of sword and sorcery, of course, you know who Red Sonja is. If you're a fan of Marvel Comics, you know who Spider-Man is. But did you know there was a Red Sonja Spider-Man crossover? Yes, there was. Right here, Marvel Tales starring Spider-Man and Red Sonja, Sword of the She-Devil. Now, this is absolutely positively a landmark comic. A landmark comic. First of all, this is a reprint from 87, but it originally debuted in 78. I had a copy of this as a kid that I bought for like $2 from a friend of mine, and it had like pen marking in the middle of Coolangath's back there. This in this comic book, there is a break-in at a museum in New York City. A guard at the museum, he cuts his hands on a piece of glass and bleeds onto an amulet, and it allows this evil Hyborian wizard Coolangath to possess him. Now, it's a Hyborian display. It's a Hyborian architectural display in the museum. European prehistory is what Peter Parker calls it. And so, but also on display there is Red Sonja's sword. Mary Jane Watson is at the museum too. She feels compelled to pick up the sword. Spider-Man's girlfriend gets possessed by Red Sonja. And so this particular one, this was drawn by John Byrne. It is magnificent. And why did I say this kicks off a significant series of events in Marvel Comics? Spider-Man Spider-Man takes the amulet from the exhibition. He knows it's dangerous. It's basically Coolangath's phylactery. And he takes it with him to dispose of it. And when they get over, or when he's taking a ferry back home on the river there, the Hudson, I guess, in New York, old Coolangath is trying to convince him to put on the amulet. And Spidey throws it Peter Parker throws it, but with Spidey strength, like just arcs it over the horizon, right? Right around this time, right around 1987, when this reprint came out, and is probably why they did this reprint, a fisherman, a commercial fisherman, and his company is in New York, finds the amulet inside of a fish. And by opening it, unleashes Coolangath. We get a 3 or 4 issue story arc in the X-Men where Coolangath has cast a spell that has enveloped all of Lower Manhattan and turned it into ancient Hyboria. And convinced everyone else in there, except for Spider-Man, whom he wants to torture, that they are in ancient Hyboria. At the end of the comic, Spider-Man and Colossus's sister, Elena, combine their powers to cast a spell to roll back the effects and make everybody forget it happened. By messing with the space-time continuum this way, right when the fisherman finds the amulet, a rip in space-time opens up, and out steps the super sentinel Nimrod, a shape-shifting sentinel, fully 4 or 5 years before Terminator 2 hit, I should point out. He steps out, and that kicks off a whole huge story arc in the X-Men, and it all came from this. I love this issue, though. Just standalone, it is awesome. It's awesome. So, thank you very much to my daughter. Now, let's move on. Now, these next two items came from Mrs. the Dungeon Delver. Now, I did show you guys, this isn't all I got for my birthday. I got a Magnum PI Hawaiian shirt, and on request, a Rod Torfelson's Armada featuring Herman Menderchuk, which I explained that on the night of my birthday. I'm not going into that again, but I've shown them off. But the other two items, I was over the moon to get these. I have shouted this guy's name from the treetops because I want everybody to follow him on Twitter. I want you to enjoy his art as much as I do. And I got his art books. This is Tellurion. And unfortunately, it's a very high gloss cover, so it's kind of difficult to see. But this is by Matt Rhodes. This is a visual novel, no dialogue. But I don't know if this will do any justice. This is like a book of animation cells. The way he tells his story of Tellurion, it is absolutely beautiful. He originally posted this as a daily on Twitter. And I originally found Mr. Rhodes' art. With a picture that I have shared with you guys many, many times. And if you don't know what it is, look up on Google, Matt Rhodes, We Are Not Bringing the Wizard. And I love the piece. It's hilarious. It's terrible. It gets worse the more you look at it. Um, and eventually, like, I started asking around about what is this picture called, um, who made it, and then I found Matt's art, and I fell down a rabbit hole. And when I read Tellurion, can you really read a visual? I think so. I think so. When I went through the Tellurion story on his DeviantArt page, it was worth signing up to DeviantArt. It was worth creating a DeviantArt account so I could read this. Um, it took my breath away. It moved me, and now I have it in book form. So if this appeals to you guys, I mean, just look at some. Just look at some of these pages. Look at this art. You want this to be a film. You desperately want this to like be an animated movie that you can own on DVD, and I wish it was. If I hit like a $1 billion lottery, I would reach out to Matt Rhodes and I would just say, when do you want to start animating this thing? Name your cast. Who do you want to be in this? It's that good. It's that beautiful, and I love this. I absolutely love this. And just in case you guys were not tired of me crowing about Matt Rhodes, I also received the very appropriately titled Matt Rhodes art book. And this, fellow D&Ders, this has an absolutely amazing piece in it, which 1080p will do no justice. How many Fafhrd and Grey Mouser fans have we got? Tony Wigenhauser, thank you very much. You were in China. Oh, well, safe travels, my friend. How many fans of the works of Fritz Lieber do we have out there, fellow first edition AD&Ders? In case you're wondering, worried that there's no AD&D content tonight, calm down, because there is. Look at this. Matt did a painting, and I'm going to see if I can get that to focus in. I can't. But this is the bizarre of the bizarre. When Mouser went in, from Swords and Deviltry, and here's his initial sketch. I mean, just look at that. Rhodes' art is just wonderful. It's just wonderful, and I'm so glad I have these books now. These are on Amazon, by the way. Although I'm going to tell you guys straight up, if I ever run into Mr. Rhodes, I hope I have these books with me, because my gosh, I would love to have these autographed. I mean, if I was a person of means, I would just be like, hey, Matt, I want this drawing. Here's a bunch of money for a commission, you know. So, yeah, get yourself one. And if you don't believe me, follow him on Twitter. Check his art out on DeviantArt. Keep looking where the camera is off. Keep looking on DeviantArt. And look at all of his beautiful stuff. So that endeth the birthday loot haul. And I was exceptionally glad to get those those gorgeous pieces. And by the way, I am trying to get Matt to come on the show. I would love it if Matt would come on the show, but we'll see. So there it is. There's the swag this year. I have no loot this year. No loot. Now I did purchase this camera just because I wanted it. I wanted a new camera, but I went looking for I went looking for I set the price DSLR HDMI 1080p webcam because there's like some 780 or 720p, and I think it's just they're clearing out old Canon EOS and whatnot that don't even do 1080p, forget 4K. And I found this. Let me see if I can show this to you guys without. So it's kind of ridiculous looking on the end of the tripod. Looks like something they would cannibalize and make into a droid in Star Wars if they still did practical effects in Star Wars movies and TV shows instead of the CGI slop they have now. And it was fairly inexpensive. It was fairly inexpensive, so I did have to do it on payments. No, Robert Phillips, no glockenspiel. No double guitar and introducing acoustic guitar. And if you get that reference, it's time to schedule a colonoscopy. The camera model, I will tell you. Let me see if I can find that. Do I have my Amazon login here? You know what? I have my email login and I can look it up there. But it is a very spiffy camera. But you will note it has no objective, which means using it out here on the table for looking at the table is kind of an iffy prospect. Because, if I'm pointing it at miniatures and I want to point it at a specific thing, I've got to dial it in and I can't see what I'm dialing in. It does have HDMI out, and guess what I found for cheap on YouTube today? On Amazon today, I found an inexpensive 7-inch 1080p monitor. I can plug that in and use it as the objective for that camera. So I will be able to focus it properly while I'm setting up the camera during between scenes, for lack of a better term. All right, so let me see. Jorge wants to know about the camera. Now, it also does not have any local storage. You need to hook it to a PC or some other recording device. Interestingly enough, it actually doesn't. Oh, it's not gonna. It actually, it does 4K. It is a 4K camera, but it only does 4K out through USB, not through the HDMI, which is weird. You'd think it would be the other way around. You'd think it'd be, okay, 1080p. I'm just trying to find it here, guys. Oh, I know where I can find it at. And I pasted this to someone in Discord. I can go get it there. It's kind of like a webcam. You thought I'm running out the door and taking you on a swamp adventure. Oh, gosh. Here we go. Okay. So far, it's fine. I've had it running for like 12 hours today, and it has not gotten exceptionally hot. And it's warm because, you know, it's a little aluminum cube crammed full of video. There's the link, Jorge. In fact, I'll show you guys the page. This is not sponsored, by the way, YouTube. This is not a sponsored link at all. And of course, it's one of those made up, you know, company names. If Water. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good looking camera. I've tried it out and it's fine. The one thing I will tell you, it hates being plugged into a USB hub. Nothing but glitching on the USB hub. Now, if you want to do a glitch type effect in your video, and you blew all your money on this camera, and you don't have the dosh to pay for new filters, plug it into a hub. It'll freak out and artifact and flake out all day long. But I quite like it. And the reason it's not flaking out and so on when I go over, and I don't have it assigned to a button on the deck yet. But the reason it's not freaking out right now is it's plugged straight into one of the hard USB ports in the back. I can't remember if I tried it up front, and oh no, I did try it up front. It works fine on the front USB ports. But you do need to plug it into USB 3. Because it does draw its power out of the USB port, and I think it's like 7 or 8 volts. So in the overall, I'm quite satisfied with the camera, and I have a monitor coming for it. Now, I hope that by dint of plugging in the monitor, it does not then knock it off of the USB. That is, it's like, oh, okay, I'm outputting to HDMI now, so I don't have to output to USB. Because that can get you know, unplug, plug back in, that sort of thing. I hope that's not the case. So anyway, but that is something that I purchased for myself. I think it is for Zeta Girls. You guys are out there talking about the channel. And yes, I've asked Sarah for Zeta to come on the show, but she has not responded. Rob Turner, Chinesium. Yeah, but I mean, you know, it's holding up. I mentioned this Thursday night, the birthday show. I go with the take from the attorney in the original Jurassic Park, who said the little girl, Lex, I think was her name, pulls out this case from under the seat of the Jeep that they're riding in, and she's like, wow, what's this? And the attorney said, is it heavy? And she said, yeah. And he said, then it's expensive, put it back. That's a pretty hefty camera. That's not like, you know, some lightweight CCD sensor they hot snotted inside of a plastic, you know, ABS plastic shell and stuck a couple of plastic pieces of fisheye shaped plastic in a, you know, aluminum foil thin tube on the front to call it a zoom lens. It's actually got that. Joe Kaufman, thank you. Thank you for stopping by. Just glad you were able to disassemble and reassemble your printer to get a plastic tie out of the rollers. Oh my gosh. I'm glad you were too, Michael. That sucks. So anyway, I've talked about what we're doing in this coming week. I've talked about my birthday swag and how awesome that is. How are you guys doing? How are you guys doing? I hope you're all doing well. James Seymour says only one more real football game to go, and then it's finally done for the year. Just All Stars and the Senior Bowl left. Yep. I'm looking forward to the A-Day game in April because that's a game that Kalen DeBoer and Jalen Milroe can't lose for us. Milroe because he'll be gone, and red team and white team, somebody's got to win. I used to tell this joke. James, so many college teams have their first full kit, full gear practice game in the spring, and you get to see freshmen, walk-ons, that sort of thing. They'll get all rotated into play. It's an exhibition game, and they play one half of the football team against the other half of the football team. Sometimes the coach will say, okay, quarterback for the red team, you're now quarterback for the white team. They have full college football officiants out there. There'll be penalties and stuff. Not much. And it is touch football for the most part. Yeah, there's a little bit of tackling, but by and large, like on receiving a punt or taking a kickback or something like that, they'll blow the whistle and just blow the play dead. Yeah, spring game. Basically, it's a one-day spring game affair. But it's just exhibition. And Alabama's is called the A-Day game. Alabama. But anyway, Rob, I used to make this joke, which I will again this March 1st. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the first official day of the spring baseball preseason, and the New York Mets have been mathematically eliminated from the pennant playoff. Which that's an old David Letterman joke. Like he came out there and did that one night a lot better than I did, but you want the European League bet no name better than the Scotland Claymores. I actually, with all respect, I love American gridiron football better than any other sport, and I like a lot of sports. My dear friends in the NFL, stop trying to make American football work in Europe. It's not going to. It's simply not. It's never going to be a money-making prospect. You have tried, and you have tried, and you have tried, and you have tried. And it has bombed every time. Look, soccer came naturally to Europe. It was literally a way to stop dueling mob brawls from destroying a town. Go into that field and do it. And here's a ball made of deer hide. If any of you can kick it, just your feet, no, I, the mayor, will call you the winner. But American football was built. We made it out of parts. He said, come here, you college guys. You're going to take this and yeah, it's a ball. I know it's shaped like an egg. Take it anyway. Line up in a straight line. No, you can't throw it. Not initially. The forward pass was not a thing. So anyway, yeah, it's just it's a different thing, man. It's a different mindset. Although I will tell you, if you haven't seen any of Ted Lasso, do yourself a favor and watch Ted Lasso. It is a wonderful culture clash, fish out of water movie. If you like stuff like Mr. Baseball or even Gung Ho, which had Michael Keaton and Genndy Watanabe in it, check out Ted Lasso. But anyway, let's move on. We don't have that long left. Does anyone have any TTRPG matters they'd like to discuss? I've got a banger of a video coming tomorrow, and I hope it shakes up the mindset of classic D&D players and the mindset of people who sit on the sidelines and look at classic D&D and think that it only works one specific way. I'm excited about doing the video. I'm excited about the subject matter. I almost want to start babbling about it now, but I want you guys to watch it. Yes, this is engagement bait. This is absolutely engagement bait. I want you guys to come back and watch the video when I drop it. And I'm doing it at just the right time. I'm doing it at just the right time, right when YouTube is no longer pushing TTRPG videos. They're just not. Unless you're kissing the ass of Wizards of the Coast and your name has Bob World Builder in it or Ginny D, you're not going anywhere. None of us are going anywhere. We're not spinning our wheels in the mud, guys. Wizards of the Coast came and jacked our car up and put it on bricks and stole our wheels. So enjoy. Enjoy. Ginny D is a she's a young lady. She's a D&D tuber. I think she started out as like a Twitch streamer or something like that, but she switched over to tabletop. She's a cosplayer mostly. But we're not talking about her. We're not talking about her. I let my feelings be known back in February of 2023 what I think of D&D influencers, and I caught some flack for it too. A lot of people in the compliments and the comments were like, "Wow, this is so sexist, man." I'm like, I never mentioned the gender of anyone ever. I never brought up anyone's gender or anything. It's kind of like when people look at orcs and say, "You can't have orcs, man. You can't have orcs acting like that. That's racist." Against orcs? No, against people of color. So you think people of color are orcs? I'm sorry, who's the racist again? Dye my hair green and sell gaming tables. Yeah, orbital air, that's very odd. So what orbital air is talking about, and I mentioned this last week. Did my sound die? Uh-oh. How about now? Am I back? Is my sound back, guys? Let me know if audio's back. Is my sound back? You got okay, sound's back. Good. Okay. That's a little troublesome. That's like the second time that's happened. Anyway, so what orbital air was talking about? What orbital air was talking about here was now I do not want to cast this person. I am not calling this person out. I can't even remember the man's name now, but he's got like 7 times the number of subs that I do, which in D&D tubing is huge, right? Like if you've got 30, 40, 50,000 subs and you're down here on the TTRPG end, that basically puts you in rarefied air. You're like the PewDiePie of TTRPG. But this guy did a so long and thanks for all the fish video and dropped his channel because he saw his numbers start to tank. He lived in a city where there was an actual YouTube office. See, if you don't YouTube, let me tell you something, guys. You cannot get assistance. You cannot get assistance from YouTube. I did one time on a video that got yellow struck. But that was rare. When I tell people that I actually talked to a person, they're shocked that that I actually made it to a person. And that hole has probably been plugged since then. There are channels that have had 2, 3, 4, 5 million subscribers. I want you to think about that for a second. That is a channel that ostensibly has more pull than CNN or Fox on any given Sunday. And it's just millennials making funny comments in front of a webcam. And they have gotten suspended or even removed by YouTube with no answer as to why, as to what was going on. Just, nope, you're done. We decided this was in violation. You're gone. Bye. And in the cases where they got restored, it was because there was a huge groundswell on social media, and eventually somebody who knew somebody got a hold of a person. There is no recourse. There is no context. There is no hope or help from YouTube unless you can go to an office. And this fellow went to the YouTube office, and what he said they told him was, it ain't just you. We're not pushing any TTRPG YouTube anymore. You guys are out of the algorithm. That's me. That's Harmony Ginger. That's T-shirted Historian. That's all of us. Unless you've got a huge head of steam behind you, again, like Bob World Builder or it's Ginny D. And so he basically said, if that's the case, if I'm trying to scrape by with this. That's what he said. He was trying to scrape by. He was watching his money dwindle to nothing. He said, that's it. I'm out. Goodbye. And he left. I will say this. YouTube is gameable if you are willing to create slop that sounds smart but isn't. Look at Linus Tech Tips. LTT doesn't say anything that's helpful. They don't. That squeaking little Canadian dormouse accidentally drops and breaks half the crap that companies send him. That's not Linus Tech Tips is no more a reliable information systems or even computer enthusiast channel than Sports Illustrated is a serious sports enthusiast magazine. Good evening, Alan Canning. The 8-bit guy makes me angry. I don't even want to talk about him. But I'm going to say this. I'm not leaving. This is not like some weird prelude to me saying, "Oh, we're on reduced hours now, but you're still going to get the same content just in." I said Thursday night. This is not some wind up to say, and that's why I'm going. No, guys. I started streaming on Facebook, and I'd have 2 and 3 people watching my streams. When I came over here to YouTube, and I started, like, my heart would leap when I would see that we would get more than 10 people watching a stream at a time. Right now, there's 32 people watching on YouTube and at least 85 looks over on Twitter. Hey, thank you, Gonzalo. Gonzalo says the inebriati say that all people are at their best when they've had more than one but less than 2 drinks. That sounds like something the inebriati would say. I love Tecmone. Tecmone is great. But and I've said before, if it went back to just 1 or 2 people watching my streams for whatever reason, people are just like, the hell with the Dungeon Delver. I'm not watching him anymore. And you know, I just ended up with a few people watching. I would still do this because I like doing this. I like sharing this knowledge. Nobody was really doing it before I did. I know that sounds incredibly egotistical of me, but I looked out there. There were damn few. There was nobody on Facebook, because that's where I started streaming. There was nobody on Facebook doing TTRPG live streams on Facebook. Nobody over here does it. Not live streams. And you know, if that's the way it's going to be again, then that's the way it's going to be again. I do this because I love it. The fact that a few dollars come my way now because of it, that's neat. It certainly helps. But I don't, you know, I don't insist on anything. But no, Orbital Air, I mean, he does bring up something, you know, he had a personal face-to-face with him and then just turned on his heel and said, I'm not doing it anymore. Like, I'm going to wind it down. I'm going to put out a few more videos. That is weird. That is weird. Now, Engine Joe had said something, and I meant to get that. What about small non-monetized hobby channels like mine? I mean, none of us are getting pushed. And as somebody else said, you know, we're the soap carving tube as far as Google is concerned. Shellback says, Usually download the content so you have something to listen. That's fine. That's fine. I literally, I do not mind. I would really prefer it's for personal use only, but obviously I can't stop anyone if they come back and are like, yeah, I download all your streams after you do them, and then I share them with all my friends so they don't have to subscribe. I would hope people don't do that. Now, I know that's not what you're doing, Shellback. Which now I finally get your name. I finally get your name, Shellback. Right. Praise to King Triton. I've thought about Rumble. Rumble's got some stuff it's got to fix. Rumble's got some stuff it's got to fix. But it's weird to watch, and I'm probably gonna be wrapping up here in just a minute because I gotta get ready for my Monday night AD&D game. But it is weird to watch how trends have come and gone. And how fast the coming and going is starting to be. It's like it used to be like, this is really popular and it's really popular for a long time, but now it's shifting. And now something else is really popular for a long time and now it's shifting. And then, it's like the shifts are coming faster and faster. Like, Tech YouTube and vintage video game review YouTube was huge. It was huge, and I think it's probably LGR. He was the pioneer. Clint really pioneered it. And a lot of people rode that wave, and now, I mean, I got to be honest, I don't even watch LGR anymore. Because he doesn't, he like go watch his earlier videos. They're as cringe as my earliest videos are. But he was talking about vintage hardware. And now it's like, here's an unboxing of a brand new, still in box Packard Bell. Ooh, let's boot it up. Haha, look at Microsoft Bob. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I kind of preferred it when he would go through a stack of weird sound cards. Yeah, and I God bless him. I hope he gets back on his feet. There's a guy that I watched off and on. I get kind of prickly about like again their channels that 4, 5, 6, 7 million subscribers. I don't even bother subscribing. What kind of possible meaning can that have? It's like YouTube is going to promote you. I'm going to see your video. You're going to get a watch from me. Staying subscribed to you does me no good, and it does you no good. Yeah, Chato dropped his Hackintosh content. But yeah, you can't shift to new stuff. You can't shift to new stuff. I might have done better to have launched a live stream only YouTube channel and kept small content on a separate one, but I can't change that now. If I said, "Hey guys, come subscribe over to this," I'd have like 200 subs. So I'm just going to keep everything in my broken leveling that I'm doing over here. But this isn't about that. There was a YouTuber that I watched. I've like subscribed to him and then been like, you don't care about me. I mean, and I love / hate it when tech YouTubers say, oh, let's talk about the budget RTX 4000 series cards. This comes in at $900. And I'm like, whose budget, asshole? This fucking budget. That's like 2 house payments for me. A budget card, $900. So by and large, because it's the same stuff week after week after week after week. Here's a case you can't afford. Here's a motherboard you can't afford. Here's a CPU you can't afford. Here's RAM you can't afford. Here's a video card you can't afford. And I'm going to put it in a computer. Ooh, it boots Windows. Thanks, guys. Like and subscribe. Like, who gives a shit? Hey, Michael Murdig. Good to see you. Make this my live channel and add a shorts channel. I may. But anyway, Bitwit Kyle is the guy's name. And I've been thinking about him lately because he took a hiatus because he got a divorce. It was very ugly from what I understand, but it's not really to talk about. When he came back, he had just a couple of... You can do this when you have 3.6 million subscribers. You can literally just take a GoPro on a selfie stick and walk around on a hike. And so he did that. He was walking around in the hills of Los Angeles on hiking trails. And I was thinking about that during the firestorm last week and week before last. And then someone told me today, yeah, Kyle lost his everything. Studio, all of his computers, his house. It's all gone. Like, man, talk about getting kicked when you're down. So, it gets me when home studio YouTube channels have such a... Well, I mean, and I never have audio problems here, Jay Tyler, I never have audio problems here. I have fantastic audio. Just trying to move my XLR board around so I can see it better. That's a bad thing about having the monitor setup that I do, is I can't really see what I'm putting my fingers on. I've had to learn to like push buttons by feel and location. Granted, I'm not teaching record. I'm not. The only thing that I would recommend is don't do what I do. Don't do what I do. But anyway, what time is it? Oh, it's 9:41. I have got to get out of here. I was going to go for... I can go for 10 more minutes, but I've got to get ready for my AD&D game tonight. I guess I'll go ahead and wrap up, and I'll wrap up on a positive D&D note. Look for a recorded video tomorrow. The reason I didn't drop it today, I was all keen to drop it today. But then I realized I had to clean house, I had to cook 4 meals, and I had to do a bunch of laundry, none of which are conducive to sitting, writing, reading, and editing, and filming. So, but also, I want your guys' opinions before I go. For a video like that, let me ask you something. Do you prefer this, where I'm sitting here like I do in my live streams, or do you like a video like that? Obviously, I would get better light, open up the lights a little bit better and adjust the camera so it's, I don't look like I'm about to bump my head on the frame. For that, would you prefer something like this? This? You guys like this? Do you guys, for like a good infotainment kind of video? You guys, you guys let me know. I can lean back like this. You guys can look at my nose. What was the middle thing? There is no middle thing. It's this or that. Talking Head Bill, up close. Anyway, so yeah, I'll probably do it like that, and we'll just see how it works. We'll just see how it works. I'll set up some better lighting so you guys can see me a little bit better. And until then, guys, listen, be good to each other, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Listen, regardless of what your YouTube channel is or what you do be careful. And before I go, thank you, Gonzalo, for the super. I really appreciate it. God bless you. But before I do go, remember, do please be careful about the owl bears. Peace. Good night. Love you all.
Have you seen my owl bear? Here's to all the weirdos everywhere, in the woods and in the air. Have you seen my owl bear? Should I shave off all my hair? Bobs are all around, some live in tunnels underground. Some are fat, some are rich, some are sleeping in a ditch. Can you ride a crooked horse without a saddle, way off course? Naked as a toad, all the way to Smoky Joe's. Have you seen the little creep driving fast in his little green Jeep? He smells like fish and brandy, but his rotten teeth look dandy. Take me to the show, I don't care if fast or slow. From action flicks to dancing dicks, just take me to the show.